What's new from Apple? There's the new iPhone 16 Pro, built for Apple Intelligence. And it comes with the all-new camera control, giving you an easier way to quickly access your camera tools. The new Apple Watch Series 10 has our biggest display and our thinnest design ever. And this? It's the sound of active noise cancellation, now available on one of 2 new AirPods 4 models. So quiet. Check out all of the new products and new features at apple.com. You can even buy yourself something new. See apple.com for product availability updates. Apple Intelligence coming this fall.
Earning your degree online doesn't mean you have to go about it alone. At Capella University, we're here to support you when you're ready. From enrollment counselors who get to know you and your goals, to academic coaches who can help you form a plan to stay on track. We care about your success and are dedicated to helping you pursue your goals. Going back to school is a big step, but having support at every step of your academic journey can make a big difference. Imagine your future differently at capella.edu.
Auto insurance can all seem the same until it comes time to use it. So don't get stuck paying more for less coverage. Switch to USAA Auto Insurance and you could start saving money in no time. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
USAA. What do you call boogers on a diet? Slim pickings. Did you hear about the spatula's hot new flame? It met the grill of its dreams.
If you just read the bio for Dr. Steve, host of Weird Medicine on Sirius XM 103 and made popular by 2 really comedy shows, Opie and Anthony and Ron and Fez, you would have thought that this guy was a bit of, a clown.
Why can't you give me the respect that I'm entitled to?
I've got diphtheria crushing my esophagus. I've got Ebola virus dripping from my nose. I've got the leprosy of the heartburn, exacerbating my incredible woes. I want to take my brain out and blast it with the wave, an ultrasonic, echographic, and a pulsating shave. I want a magic pill for all my ailments, the health equivalent of Citizen Kane. And if I don't get it now in the tablet, I think I'm doomed and I'll have to go insane. I want a requiem for my disease, so I'm paging Dr. Steve. Dr. Steve.
It's Weird Medicine, the first and still only uncensored medical show in the history of broadcast radio, now broadcasting from the world-famous Cardiff Electric Network studios. I'm Dr. Steve with my little pal, Dr. Scott, the traditional Chinese medical practitioner who gives me street cred. The wacko alternative medicine assholes. Hello, Dr. Scott.
Hey, Dr. Steve.
This is a show for people who would never listen to a medical show on the radio or the internet. If you have a question you're embarrassed to take to your regular medical provider, if you can't find an answer anywhere else, give us a call at 347-766-4323. That's 347-Whohead. Follow us on Twitter at Weird Medicine or at DrScottWM. Visit our website at drsteve.com for podcast, medical news, and stuff you can buy. Most importantly, we are not your medical providers. Take everything you hear with a grain of salt. Don't act on anything you hear on this show without talking it over with your doctor, nurse practitioner, practical nurse, physician assistant, pharmacist, respiratory therapist, chiropractor, acupuncturist, yoga master, physical therapist, clinical laboratory scientist, registered dietitian, massage therapist, or whatever. All right, very good. Please don't forget stuff.drsteve.com for all of your Amazon needs. That's stuff.drsteve.com. Scroll down, find lots of things that we talk about on the show, or just click through to Amazon. Either way you do it, it really helps keep us on the air. And check out Dr. Scott's website at simplyherbals.net. That's simplyherbals.net. And check out our Patreon, patreon.com/weirdmedicine. We're doing some cool stuff over there. Mm-hmm. We've got celebrity exam room episodes that will not be played anywhere else. And we've got classic weird medicine that won't be played anywhere else. I told the story about how Colin Quinn called me a son of a bitch. It's one of my favorite things ever. And I've got that little snippet on there. That was when I was a terrible friend to Brian from Radio Freaks. And I've told that story. It was just horrible. I was a horrible person, but I tell the story over there. So check it out, patreon.com/weirdmedicine. All right, Dr. Scott. Don't forget Dr. Scott's website. It's simplyherbals.net, simplyherbals.net. And I just heard that they put Joe Biden in the hospital.
Well, that's not good.
No, he couldn't stop Putin. Well, there you go. There you go, Dr. Scott.
Oh, that was pretty good.
That's what you call country humor there, Dr. Scott.
So you've been working on it all day.
Yeah, actually, my dyad partner told me that one today.
Couldn't stop Putin.
Couldn't stop Putin. That probably doesn't land in some places because I doubt everyone calls flatus with that eponym.
Yes, I agree.
Or not eponym, that's not the word I'm looking for. Euphemism.
Okay.
You know?
I would say you're correct.
What is the euphemism? Ooh, let's do that as a radio bit. What's the euphemism for flatus in your area? Ugh.
A toot?
Yep.
I think a toot.
Well, I'll tell you what. We talked about this in a recent show where my brother would hold me down, and that was nothing but farting in my face. There's no other word for it. He didn't toot. He didn't poot. He effing farted in my face. And it stunk so bad. And I do not understand this. It smells the same today. Oh, no, not 50. 60 years later, it smells the same. I can't believe Tacey couldn't remember that.
That is kind of bizarre.
She talked about that for years.
You'd think that'd be something she would remember.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, well, you know.
I don't know. I don't know anything. It's obviously.
She's doing her best. God bless her.
All right, you got anything? Because we have a million phone calls that we got to get through today.
Yeah, I got a couple things. We'll go through.
People will be happy about that. Instead of us bullshitting, there will be lots of phone calls.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something about bullshit. I'm gonna talk about something serious here.
Okay.
We found this article the other day.
Yeah.
And it's a legitimate question.
Okay.
Childbirth or getting kicked in the balls, which hurts more?
Oh, childbirth. By far.
I would think so.
By far.
And
men can't even come close to understanding.
Except the problem is most men are just, and you know this as well as I do, when it comes to tolerating pain, men will tell you that getting kicked in the nuts is worse.
It's the worst thing ever.
Oh, it's so painful.
And then my wife will say, just imagine shitting out a watermelon. But it goes on for 8 hours or 12 hours or 24 hours.
Or 24 hours, yep.
And there is a guy named Horse. We've had him on the show. I don't think you've ever been here when we had Horse on the show. He came to national fame on America's Got Talent when Howard Stern was a judge. And his talent is he can get kicked in the balls. He can jump off of a 10-foot thing onto a 2x4 with his legs spread out and land on his balls. And he makes faces and stuff like, whoa, it hurts, but it doesn't bother him.
Wow. Is he anatomically connected?
He's been examined by physicians, and they say he's fine, and his testicles are fine. I don't understand it. They took, one of those bamboo canes?
Oh, yeah.
That they cane people with?
Yeah,
they did that under his legs.
Now, that would be hard. That would be painful.
Had two guys just with each end lifting him up.
For goodness sakes.
And he's going to be on the show again. He reached out to me recently wanting to come back on. He's got something else to talk about. So, but my kid, Liam, Beck was too little. He doesn't really remember. But Liam would watch him and just laugh and laugh and laugh. He thought it was hilarious. And so when we had Horse on the show, he was kind enough to autograph a thing to Liam, which he still has.
How funny.
He's got it on his wall.
I actually remember the Horse guy getting kicked in the nuts.
Yeah.
Oh, God. And I'll tell you this. Of course, everybody has their own level of discomfort. But, they don't teach you a lot of in self-defense classes women not to kick men in the testicles because it really doesn't cause them that much pain. It just kind of pisses them off.
Yeah.
They teach you to punch in the nose or the side of the neck, but much more so than getting kicked.
Is that
in the
right?
nuts. Yeah.
Interesting.
Hey, I've got a quick question.
Yeah,
for
and
Sean.
any women who have actually passed a human through their vaginal cavity that wants to chime in the waiting room, feel free, and Dr. Scott will pick those things up.
Yeah.
But, it's childbirth.
Yeah, I'm saying childbirth 100%.
100%.
So Sean
if
says...
you kicked me in the nuts so hard that it ruptured one of my testicles, I'm still not going to say that's worse than childbirth.
I agree 100%.
Anyway.
Yeah. But, Sean was chiming in. He said, how about kidney stones compared to the childbirth?
Kidney stones are bad.
They're horrible.
That's really bad. Now, that might be close.
Now, I've got gout, and I'm not saying gout says bad.
You got the
gouch. The gouch.
I need my gouch medicine.
It's awful. Oh, God, it's awful. But I think between kidney stones and gout, those are two pretty similar in discomfort. But I'd say childbirth has got to be worse.
Well, severe pain in your big toe.
Yeah.
No matter how bad it is, I'm not thinking that it's worse than.
No, I'm not thinking so either.
Passing up.
Yeah, I think it lasts longer. But the one benefit about childbirth is after the birth, the women's hormones kick in to help them kind of forget how painful it was.
Well, you don't remember pain anyway.
Yeah.
I don't. You remember that you were in pain,
right?
But you don't remember pain.
Yeah.
If people that are listening to this think about it, think of the worst pain you ever had. You can remember, like I said, that you were in pain, but as far as feeling it again or remembering it in the way that we think of remembering things, you just can't do it.
No, it is not.
Is somebody saying something to you in the waiting room?
Yeah, Mick's talking about going to pass out if we keep talking about rupturing nuts.
Sorry,
we might have our new GVAC here. we need a GVAC.
It is funny how people in medicine, you'd just be sitting there talking, and it's like, yeah, this guy defecated all over the bed, and it was full of mucus, and you're just eating your spaghetti, and everyone else and you look around, and everyone is like sitting there just with this horrified look on their face.
Yeah. It's a whole different.
You get inured to it.
Yes, you do.
Anyway,
so there.
All right.
You go.
Well, that's a good one. Now, you had a question left over from last week.
It was. Well, let me find it here. Hey, Dr. Scott, did you see my question about scintillating scotoma?
Yeah.
If it occurs occasionally, is there a reason for concern? I did not get the name. I just copied the question, so I apologize.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all right.
But, if you want
I've had this happen to me once.
Okay.
So scintillating, you know what scintillating means, flashing, and then scotoma means a deficit in the visual field. So it would be flashing lights in one part of the visual field. And, it usually starts as like a spot or a flickering light, and it can be near the center or near the edge of your visual field. With me, my scintillating scotoma happened just out of the blue. I was driving, and there was bright, the sun was bright, and I got into the hospital, and I thought that I had, if you look at a bright light for too long, you get sort of, a spot in your vision that's temporary, where the rods and the cones have just been overworked and there's no chemicals left to send that signal to the brain, right. So you get this spot.
Right.
Well, it was a bright spot, and it didn't go away. And then it spread to the upper right side of my vision, only in my right eye, and it looked like a neon sign. Where it was just, you know how a neon sign, worse than that, a marquee sign, where they have the lights and they flash in sequence to make sort of a pattern that looks like motion.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about?
Sure.
And it looked like that, and it got bigger and bigger and bigger, and I was like, oh my effing God, what's going on with me? So I was near the emergency room. I went ahead and checked, just went in there and called a neurologist and said, get your ass down here. There's something going on. Because it wasn't something I could ignore. And then before he could even get there, it got less and less and less, and then it just went away.
Wow.
Never happened again.
Oh, cool. Well, let's keep it that way.
So he said that I had an acephalgic migraine.
Okay.
Never had a migraine, never have headaches. But acephalgic migraine, remember the Greek, A in the front of a word means not.
Yep.
So cephalgia, ceph meaning CEPH meaning the head, algia meaning pain. So no head pain migraine.
Right.
And so it was an acephalgic migraine. And that can just be caused by contraction of the blood vessels around the brain. And, I had some contraction of the blood vessels in the visual cortex, which is near the back of the brain.
Skull, yeah.
And that was it. Never happened again. And that can happen sometimes.
Sure.
And other people will have these things as aura before they have a migraine. So they'll see these scintillating scotoma and they know, I'm going to have a migraine.
Yeah.
And then they take their migraine medicine and
hopefully
try to
keep
prevent
it.
it.
Too bad. Right on.
So anyway.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I'm just looking for some studies and anything here. It just says a visual anomaly results from abnormal functioning of portions of the occipital cortex. So the occiput is in the base of the brain on the back. And there's visual stuff in there. There's internal mapping. You remember when we talked about when I had those hypnopompic episodes, the sleep paralysis episodes, I would open my eyes and I could see the whole room around me. But when I actually woke up, it was pitch black in there. And that whole quote-unquote room around me thing was my occipital part of my brain reconstructing a three-dimensional map of my surroundings.
Yep.
Now, how in the hell, you think about it, people who have ever programmed games or played games, if you have a game with a big giant map in it with a lot of detail, it takes up huge amounts of memory.
Right.
And you can usually only run one of those things at once, particularly in a game console, you can run one at once. But this little part of the brain that's about this big, the size of half a grapefruit, if that, and a small one of that. Yeah.
An orange.
Can contain all of that detail, and not just right there, but pretty much any place you've ever been that you can remember details about how the place is constructed. That could be routes on a road. How do you get from here to there? And you can visualize it. That's all in the occipital cortex. So it's crazy.
It is pretty wild.
How in the hell?
I don't know.
Well, then we get into, how do we even have any consciousness at all?
Yep.
And that has to be some sort of recursive thing where not even concepts, they can't be concepts yet, but impulses refer back to themselves. So you have this loop that somehow generates consciousness. I mean, it's good. You think about it too much, you will go insane.
Yes. There's a reason why that's the one thing that we really haven't done a great job of figuring out yet.
Yeah.
Is brain function.
Well, Gödel kind of proved that we'll never be able to fully do it.
Yeah.
And in one of his proofs, he showed that mathematics by itself is inherently incomplete. There are things that mathematics cannot describe about itself. That's what he was really talking about. And a great book, if you're interested in this kind of stuff, is Gödel, Escher, Bach. It goes through all of this recursion and stuff like that. But mathematics, it's not that we don't know how to do it. It can't do it.
Right.
It's not possible with the way that we do mathematics for it to describe every single thing about itself. And that may be true of the brain, too. It just can't describe everything about itself.
Well, I think so. And I think considering that every brain is so unique in all of the, someone lives for 50 years.
Not me.
all of those.
Does anybody get that?
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
I'm not unique.
probably movie Messiah here. He might get it.
Well, that was from Life of Brian.
Yep. Yeah.
You're all individuals, and one guy pipes up and goes, "I'm not."
Hey,
he was the only one that was.
Hey, I think Mick's got a good question here. Does being aware of medical phenomena make you more inclined to experience them?
Yes.
Yes, it does.
Absolutely.
It does. Yeah, it makes it, because it's really easy to look at yourself and go, "Oh my gosh, what's
or
going
just
on
worry
here?"
about it.
Yeah.
Could
that be a blank or a blank? And
yeah, no, I've always got cancer.
Yeah.
I've always got, and so, and I'll go through, oh God, I've got pancreatic cancer. I went through a period of that where I was just having abdominal pain. I just assumed that I had pancreatic cancer, while as any normal person would just say, I've got a bellyache.
Right.
And so I went through all kinds of testing. It had to prove to myself that I didn't have it because I'd wake up thinking about it.
Yeah.
Now, this was a long time ago. Now, hell, I welcome the relief that death will bring. But, Jesus.
From pancreatic cancer to gastritis.
So yes, it does make a big difference.
It does make a huge difference, yeah, and that's why it's
But that's true for anything. I think so. If you build houses, you're always going to be thinking that there's some flaw in what you made.
Yeah, I agree.
And then be thinking about it and stuff till you can prove to yourself that it isn't there. I'm sure that happens.
Yeah, I would think so.
Anyway,
that's hilarious.
Yep, that's a good one.
Good one.
All right, so that's scintillating scotomata. If it happens once, Dr. Steve's rule is, and it's not really my rule. I just like to say that going back decades ago. But if you have something like that happen once, get it checked out.
Sure.
If there's blood coming out from an orifice it's not supposed to be coming out from, which, by the way, is every orifice, get it checked out. Mm-hmm. And then if it happens again and they've identified a benign cause, you don't worry about it.
Yeah, you just know it's blood.
Same thing with sex headaches. We've talked about this before. Some people get these massive thunderclap headaches during intercourse, and it will happen. It's got to happen for a first time at some point. The first time it happens, get it checked out, get a neurologist to look at you. They'll make sure you don't have something going on that they need to deal with. And if they don't, then you take the medicine and move on with your life.
Do your thing.
Yep. Stretch your stuff. All right. You got anything else? I know I sent you a bunch of stuff, but we could do some questions.
Yeah, let's do some questions because we've got some other good ones for next time.
All right.
Number one thing, don't take advice from some asshole on the radio.
Thank you, Ronnie B. That's absolutely true. Let's see here. Here's one for you, by the way. This would be a good one for Dr. Scott. Let's see.
Hey, Dr. Steve. This is Adam in Nebraska.
Hey, Adam.
How are you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Good to hear. Dr. Scott.
What's
How are you?
Doing great, man. Thanks.
Great. Glad to hear it.
Perfect.
I was just calling to say thanks. I was listening to your show a couple of shows ago, and you guys talked about mustard for heartburn or acid reflux. I don't get heartburn all that often, but when I do, I've tried a bunch of the over-the-counter medication, and it doesn't really seem to do a lot. After a day or so, it just goes away. But I was at the store and remembered your show, so I picked up some mustard, had it, and got some heartburn a couple days later, and so I got a big teaspoon, like Dr. Scott said, and took it, and it was gone instantly. The heartburn and, the burping and that kind of thing, it was just gone. And it was great. So I just wanted to say thanks. It really helped me out, and now I have a bottle of mustard just ready to go.
Cool, man.
It's fine for temporary relief of what we call pyrosis or heartburn. Have you thought any more about why this works? Because I can actually attest that in the short term, this does work, and it's against what you would think.
Right. My gut feeling, and I've not done any research, is maybe the turmeric in the mustard might help with inflammation.
Yeah, turmeric is known to be an anti-inflammatory. Does it work that fast in the stomach?
I think so. But and the thing I tell people too with recurrent GERD and reflux and gastritis is making sure warm foods and warm drinks are important. Making sure that you lay off the fried stuff helps. But in a shot of yellow mustard can help quickly, but it certainly doesn't cure it, but it does help calm the symptoms.
So if you have that frequently, please go see your primary care provider.
Yeah, make sure what's going on.
But using it the way he used it, never has heartburn, had some mustard or went and bought some because he heard you talking about it. Then he got some heartburn. Of course, that's an excellent question. Did hearing you talk about it give him heartburn? Because listening to you talk gives me heartburn. Well,
there you go.
Anyway, so, and then he took it and it went away and never came back. That's fine. If you're having recurrent heartburn, even Dr. Scott, especially Dr. Scott, would say, make sure you get that checked out.
Oh, shoot, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good deal.
Hey, man, that's why I'm here. I love science. Check it out.
Yeah, me too.
Check it out.
All right. We had, let's see here. Let's do this one. I think this is props. I'm not sure. All right.
Hey, good doctor. This is Virgil from Kentucky.
Hey, Virgil.
Hope you're doing good.
Doing great, man.
Casey, Dr. Scott.
Hey, man.
Hope you are too, man.
Listen, you were talking about how bad your last show was. To me, it was one of the best you had in a long time, and I got a lot from it.
Okay,
So,
good.
Just my 2 cents worth. Keep up the good work. I've learned so much from your show.
Hey, thanks,
you.
Virgil. I appreciate it. All right, let's see. Let's try this one. Okay. Nope. So I'm going to have to do all of these a certain way because my computer is messing up.
Hey, Dr. Steve. It's Tucker Dixon again. Giving a call in. Maybe you need a marketing guy if you know anybody who's a podcaster, maybe a former marketing. Oops.
Let's see.
Well, I fucked this one up. You can embarrass me on this one. Sorry.
We don't have to do anything of the sort, my friend.
Nope.
You did that yourself. Let's see what he was trying to say here. All right.
Hey, Dr. Steve. It's Tucker Dixon. Maybe you need a marketing guy, a former podcaster who used to be in marketing might help you out with this. But my question was, what do you think about coronavirus being the only thing we talk about from here on out and ignoring things like the common cold?
Totally agree.
From a marketing standpoint, I see that as the news sells that as, oh, yeah, the coronavirus is terrible this year. Coronavirus, 22, 23, 24. Anyways, I guess I'll take this off air. Good luck on the Cardiff Electric Podcast Network.
Thanks, my friend. So he's not wrong, but I think there's a lot of COVID fatigue out there. People are sick of it.
Yeah.
I advertised this show as being COVID free, not realizing that we were going to have. This is tangential to it, though. What's going to happen is that all those people who used to die from coronavirus, and back in the day, meaning 3 years ago, we'd get 10, 20,000 people die of coronavirus disease every year, but they were just lost in the noise. We called it atypical pneumonia, or we called it viral pneumonia, non-influenza, or whatever.
Right.
But we didn't test for that. You better believe we're going to be testing for it from now on.
Yep.
And we'll probably pick up all the other coronaviruses too. And I'm okay with that because I want people to know these effing coronaviruses are a problem and we need to destroy them.
Yep. Yep.
Again, putting out my call for universal destruction of all human pathogenic viruses.
Yes, that would be nice.
It would be.
Yeah.
And then we have a question about that, as a matter of fact. Okay. So, yeah, thank you, Tucker. You're not wrong. But people are sick of it. No one wants to hear it on this show anymore. Unless something outstanding happens, we won't be bringing it up anymore. And unless an excellent call such as yours comes in, and then we'll touch on it. But we do need to be paying attention. Get back to paying attention to other diseases. One of my really good friends just found out they had a tubular adenoma in their colonoscopy, and I'm really glad they didn't put it off, blaming it on coronavirus. But there were tons of people who missed their screening colonoscopies in the last 2 years, thinking, I don't want to go in there and be exposed to something in this colonoscopy suite. And the colonoscopists weren't thrilled about it either because, they're just sucking stuff out of people's colons and their stomachs. And, they're spraying viruses all over everywhere. So even in a closed system, it's impossible for it to be fully closed.
Yep.
So I do think that we need to put that out there that since all of this started, the age for a colonoscopy, a screening colonoscopy, has been ratcheted down to 45. If you are older than 45 and you have not had your colonoscopy yet, please go do that now and at least talk to your primary care. Say, hey, I'm over 45. I heard that I need to get a colonoscopy, and get it done. It's not that bad. The prep is the thing. But hell, you lose 7 pounds of shit when you do it, and you feel pretty light on your feet with all those turds in your colon.
Yep.
It's not so bad.
It's not so bad.
You get a day or two off of work, and you're asleep during this. It's unless you're a nut like I am and do it without anesthesia. If you want to see something cool, don't do anesthesia and watch them do your colonoscopy. It's live. It's pretty neat. Except for the putting in and the taking out part, because then your giant anus is on this screen. It fills up this 6-foot screen because it has to. As they get closer and closer to it, it gets bigger and bigger, and then it's just giant. And then they get it in there, and then you see nice pink mucous membrane, and you see,
no more hair, no.
Oh God, it's so awful. And when I see those women that help my GI guy in the hospital, I always go, "Stop it!" And they're like, "What?" And I said, "I know what you're thinking about when you see me, because how could you think of anything else?" Except they see a million of them, they don't care.
No. One
like
old hairy
giants.
gray ass is the same across the board.
So disgusting. I swear I'm going to get a Brazilian before I have my next colonoscopy.
that would be radio worthy for sure.
Well, we did that before. That was before your time.
Yeah.
I got a Brazilian, recorded it, played the recording on the show, and then I passed Flatus to demonstrate how it sounded different when it's just skin against skin rather than hair and skin against hair and skin.
That makes sense. Oh my God!
So
you're right, Kim. He's lost it.
I'll put that one on the Patreon. And do check out our Patreon. There's stuff on there that you can't get anywhere else. Anyway, all right. Oh, Pete Davidson is going into outer space.
I saw that.
March 23rd, I think. Oh, that's very soon. And he's agreed to come on our show and talk about it afterward.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I'm very excited about that.
Super cool.
And that's okay. So anyway.
Today's episode is brought to you by Angie. Angie has made it easier than ever to connect with skilled professionals to get all your jobs and projects done well. Let me tell you, there's the version of it where you try to do something at home, and then there's a version of it where you have someone help you, you watch them do it the right way, and you go, thank God I didn't try to do that myself. I have fully done things around the home that I think look good, and then a bang in the night, and I wake up to a shelf collapsing, a painting falling off the wall. I've seen it all go south. I own a home, and I can tell you, I know how much work it can take. Whether it's everyday maintenance and repairs or making dream projects a reality, it can be hard just to know where to start. But now all you need to do is Angie that and find a skilled local pro who will deliver the quality and expertise you need. Whatever your home project, big or small, indoor or outdoor, you can Angie that and connect with skilled professionals to get the project done well. Right now, one of my wish lists is I want a bike for my condo in Milwaukee, and I would love to rig it up on a pulley in the ceiling because I have one of those lofted ceilings, but I'm so scared to try that on my own. Angie has 20 years of home experience, and they've combined it with new tools to simplify the whole process. Bring them your project online or with the Angie app. Answer a few questions and Angie can handle the rest from start to finish, or help you compare quotes from multiple pros and connect instantly, which means you can take care of any home project in just a few taps. Because when it comes to getting the most out of your home, you can do this when you Angie that. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
Hear that? Yeah, that's the sound of you relaxing, because now you're managing diabetes with the Freestyle Libre 3 system. You get to know your glucose levels and where it's headed. Manage your diabetes with more confidence with the Freestyle Libre 3 system. Ready to learn more about the #1 prescribed CGM in the U.S.? Visit freestylelibre.us to learn more. Based on retail sales data for patients' last filled prescription by manufacturer. Refer to the FLAIR NL4 study published in BMJ Open Diabetes Research and Care 2019. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.
Introducing our biggest GMC Acadia ever. Offering bigger screens, bigger views, and even bigger journeys. Live your biggest life in the all-new GMC Acadia.
Hi, I'm Lara, and this is the Lara Bar story. I was on a hike in the Rocky Mountains when I felt inspired to make something that tastes indulgent and delicious using just fruit and nuts. 20 years later, Larabar is still at it. From chocolate chip cookie dough to cherry pie, there's a Larabar made for you. 100% real, 100% delicious. That's Larabar. Find your flavor at larabar.com.
After countless steps and more than a few miles, your dog drives you forward one last time to make that final climb. And as the rising sun peeks out from the horizon, you know, incredible happens here because it starts here. With the fuel that makes it all possible, Pro Plan Sport. Discover advanced nutrition made to fuel strength and stamina in active dogs like yours at ProPlansport.com.
All right, let's take another question. So we got Tucker Dixon. Oh, I like this one too. This is a good one. And it's just habit. I'm going to have to fix this after the show. Okay.
Hi, Dr. Steve. This is Phil. I'm calling in regards to your most recent podcast where you brought up your solution to COVID, as in sticking everyone inside a bubble for 2 weeks.
Yes.
And it would all be over.
That's right.
Boy, do I wish that was possible. Would have saved a lot of heartache. Anyway,
I know.
It made me think, does a filtration system exist in the medical field or anywhere that is so strong that it could filter out every known pathogen and, frankly, every unknown pathogen, where if you walked into a room that was insulated with this filtration and you stood in it unprotected, you would feel comfortable being bombarded with viral particles from the outside? And as a follow-up, if it does exist, could it be minimized to a point, I'm thinking like Star Trek, where you have that technology, a small debris that you put
That's
around
where
your
I was
mouth,
going.
that could be given eventually to the public. And I know that with masking, people were so against that, but there's a lot of miscommunication about masking and which masks to use. But if something was shown, as much seriousness as people would take it with, could that technology be shrunk down to such a small scale that it become portable and easily distributable? Thanks, Dr. Steve.
Yeah,
Talk to you later.
no,
Bye.
I love it. So let's just talk about filters real quick. So the virus that causes COVID-19 is SARS-CoV-2. It's 0.125 microns. Okay. So that's 0.125 millionths of a centimeter, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's 125 nanometers. So it's right around the same wavelength of some light.
Mm-hmm.
That's how big this thing is. It's really, really tiny. But HEPA filters, can go down to 0.01 micron.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So that is kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what he's talking about is we would need a Star Trek type situation where you have a force field that surrounds your body that will allow oxygen and nitrogen, carbon dioxide in, will allow carbon dioxide out, and then will somehow block, selectively block things like viruses.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
That'd be cool.
I would rather just kill all the viruses because I hate them.
Yeah.
But that would be a solution.
Yep.
Of course, it would require technology that to us would look like magic right now.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have it. But is there any reason that you couldn't have an intelligent force field like that in the laws of physics? I can't think of a law of physics other than maybe if it violated entropy in some way, but you can get over violating entropy by adding energy to a system. So it would just require, a power supply.
Okay.
So anyway, there was a sort of a physics philosophical question where you would have a demon in a cave, and the demon would only allow slow-moving particles into the cave and would repel all the fast-moving particles, and then you would set up a gradient where the cave would be much colder than the outside world. And there you can get into all kinds of philosophical discussions whether this is possible or not. Of course, we do it every day with air conditioning.
Yep.
But it's a different thing. And okay, let me ask you. Here's an energy / entropy sort of type question. And everyone can think about this, and you'll probably all get the answer right because you're smart. If I open my refrigerator in a very small room, you got a tiny little room, 6x6 room, and you open up the refrigerator and the freezer doors, what will happen to the temperature in the room over time? I'm asking you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Cool it off.
Yeah, that's what you would think.
Yeah.
So initially,
it will.
It might even do that.
Yep.
But here's what will happen.
But over time, it'll get hot because the refrigerator's got to work too hard to cool the room.
Okay, I'll give you this.
Give yourself a bill.
Yeah, that's right. So initially, the thermometer may go down, but over time it will increase, and it will never go back down again.
Right.
And the reason for that is that the motor and the system for transmitting heat from one place to another, that's all it's doing.
Right.
It's exchanging heat that's inside the refrigerator and bringing it out to the outside world. And there's no perfect system. You can't have that demon. That was what that was all about.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have that demon doing it, and there has to be a cost. And the cost is heat energy that's caused by the mechanism that makes that transfer.
Right.
And it can't be zero. It has to be net positive. So therefore, the heat must go up in the room. Now, the more efficient it is, the less hot it will get in the room. But with a regular refrigerator, they're terribly inefficient.
Mm-hmm.
The temperature will go up quite a bit. So anyway, very good, Dr. Scott.
Cool.
You're one of them dang geniuses.
Regular genius.
All right, so we did the universal Okay, here's a good one. And I clicked it the wrong way again. Okay, there we go.
Hey, Dr. Steve and Dr. Scott. This is Zach from Oklahoma.
Hey, Zach.
I have a question about ejaculation.
Excellent.
There you
or
go.
as you guys in the medical field call it, cum. So when I was younger, I would notice that ejaculate, it has a very distinct smell.
Yep.
And as I got older, I equated it to maybe just a faint smell of bleach. I mean, it didn't smell like straight up bleach.
Yeah.
But I just thought this was normal. And
I get what he's saying. If you had to describe it, then that would be the closest. It's like trying to describe an orgasm to someone, and if you had to describe it, you say, well, it's like a sneeze, but it goes on for a long time, but it's really not like a sneeze, but it's kind of like that. I understand what he's saying.
Yet I would have conversations with other people, usually of the opposite gender, being women, and they would be like, that just sounds strange. If your cum is smelling like bleach, there's something wrong with you. Well, as I got older, I've since heard other conversations and comedians. I remember O&A saying something about it.
Yep.
Jim Norton has said the same thing, that when they describe the smell of ejaculate, it has a slight bleachy smell.
Correct.
So I didn't feel so crazy. But yet, still, now that I'm older, in conversations...
Listen, just because everybody says the same stupid thing doesn't make you less crazy. So that in itself is not reason for you to feel better about yourself, but I'm going to make you feel better about it. Okay.
Where it comes up like a joke or something like that in conversation,
yeah,
mostly women will be like, oh my God, I've never heard of that. That should not smell like bleach. There's something wrong with you. So my question is it possible that women smell ejaculate differently than men?
Interesting.
Or does some
or that they bothered to smell it at all, because why would they?
men smell it differently than men? Is it something to do with pheromones or something like that? So
no, that's a really interesting question. I think this gets down to the whole concept of zeitgeist, where everybody says it smells like bleach, and that's not a completely wrong answer. So now it just smells like bleach to everybody. And here's the scientific answer that I can give you is that semen is slightly alkaline,
mm-hmm.
and sweat, which is usually around when semen is produced, has sodium and chloride in it. So the chloride's the big thing. Well, the sodium is as well. When you have an alkaline environment and sodium and chloride, you may be making a little bit of sodium hypochlorite. It's not impossible, even if the reaction is 0.00001%. When you're talking about the numbers of atoms that are there and how sensitive the nose is to these things, that may be what's happening. Yeah. And so it makes sense that it would be kind of a bleachy smell to you, that you could describe it that way. There are other things in semen, zinc and other metals and things that can combine with things on the skin that could cause an odor as well, which is why it doesn't smell just like semen. Now, if it smells off, you may have an infection in your prostate, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Now, if and my hypothesis about women not smelling it, first off, they're not as gross as men. I mean, men, they're beating off, and then they're smelling their semen. I mean, that's just that's something a dude would do, But and women aren't that gross, but the vaginal wall and secretions in the vagina tends to be acidic. And so when you combine the alkaline semen with the acidic vaginal secretions, that may be neutralizing that smell, why women have just never encountered this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, if you got a good relationship with the woman and you're having, intercourse with her and stuff, see if she'll give you a handy, and then just smell it and see what she says. Women don't talk about men's ejaculate like that unless it stinks, unless there's something wrong with it. So if you want to know, that'd be a good experiment to do. It'd be, anecdotal, but it would be interesting. But you'd have to have a really special relationship with that woman to do that. Okay.
Yes.
All right. I like that one.
That was a good one.
Okay, let's do this one. A little more philosophical. Clicked it the wrong way again. I'm going to have to delete that app. Okay.
Hey, Dr. Steve. This is Adam in Nebraska.
Hey, Adam.
Hey, Adam.
I had a question about life expectancy.
Okay.
Let's just say, for sake of argument, that the two main killers in the United States, being heart disease and cancer, let's say they were eliminated tomorrow.
Yeah.
Do you think that, barring any kind of medical miracle, that we could get to the point where people live beyond the age of 110 or 120 years old, or is there just a point where the body cannot work any longer, or it just won't function correctly? I'm just curious what your thoughts are on this. Thanks.
Yeah, so I love this question. You guys, you're on top of it. Mm-hmm. We're getting back to weird medicine questions. I like it. Mm-hmm. So, no COVID. Please call in more philosophical and questions like this, and all these that we've had today. They've been great. So you all have really made our job easy. Larry Niven had this. He was a science fiction writer, and he had this thing called dicta immunity. And it was just a bastardization of dictator. Okay. And when they would grab these posts, they had teleportation, but he grabbed this post in this book and with both of his hands, and nothing happened, or he didn't think anything happened. But what really happened was all of the senescent cells and things that were impeding cellular regeneration were teleported out of his body into this other canister. And he started getting younger. His hair grew back. He started looking younger, all this stuff. So it was really interesting. So anti-aging is a science. It's not gotten very far yet. Mm-hmm. But you look at it, and I tell people, and if we had some answer for whatever medical problem, if we just knew enough mm-hmm. and understood how all the numbers went together, that we could solve any problem. If that was philosophically true, right now there would be at least 200 or 300, 400-year-old people running around just by chance.
Right, just randomly, yeah.
Right? Out of the billions of people that have been alive.
Right.
The fact that the maximum age seems to be around 122 or somewhere in there, and those people, by the way, if you think about that, those people have never been to the doctor for the most part. They're not sick. They don't have congestive heart failure. They don't have lung cancer. They just get to be 125, and then they have a stroke, or they fall and break their hip, they die, something like that. And those people in the Ural Mountains that smoke cigarettes and drink vodka every day, they never see a doctor a day in their life.
Yep.
So that does seem to be the hard stop.
Mm-hmm.
So our goal is, if we want to do it with our organic bodies, is to figure out a way to stop aging. But if we do that, then we're going to either have to colonize other planets, or we're going to have to stop having children too.
Yeah.
Because this place will fill up pretty quickly
Really
if people
quickly.
stop dying.
Yep.
So it will bring with it a lot of other issues. Now, I've thought for years that our children that go to the stars and colonize the universe are going to be machines rather than us.
Yep.
But that's going to require our ability to take a quantum picture of what's going on in our brain and move that over to a machine, so that we go intact.
Yep.
And then, what the hell? Okay, so I take my consciousness and I move it into a machine. Well, now the machine is conscious, thinks it's me. I still think I'm me. What do? They just shoot me in the head? I mean, now there's two of me.
Be easier to feed if you're dead.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, well, wait a minute.
No.
I'm not in the machine. I'm still here. Yeah. The machine's going, oh no, the transfer was worked very well. I'm in here.
Yep, I can think of a lot of people that would make that's a really scary scenario to them.
Yeah, well,
like
look at the Star
your
Trek
wife and your kids.
Yeah, really. The Star Trek transporter, for example.
Yeah.
It's not a wormhole where they step through. They're being destroyed, and then they're being sent somewhere else and then recreated. And there was a time when I think Scotty was trapped inside a transporter, on the receiving side, and then they recreated him like years later. So that means I could put somebody in that machine and then just turn it off and just go F yourself. And they say, well, we're taking you in for murder. And I go, oh, well, click, and the person comes back. And here they are.
Yep.
And then what if it gets scrambled on the way and you come out with your ear and on your forehead and all that kind of stuff? So transporter technology brings with it some ethical and moral issues.
Mm-hmm.
If we can't figure out a way to create a wormhole that you just walk through, and it's actually you here on Earth and then walking through and you're on Mars or whatever,
Yep.
All right? Okay.
Cool.
Pot talk. All right. Let's see. Okay, I know the answer to this one, but if I would click the right thing again, God, I am just a creature of habit. Here we go.
Hi, Dr. Steve. My name's Matt.
Hey, Matt.
I have an dent in my shoulder. It looks like something atrophied right a little bit above the belly of my deltoid.
Okay. He used the right word. I'm going to give him one of these.
Give yourself a bill.
Because he already has the
From my
answer.
primary care, he thinks it might have been from a cortisone shot I got.
Give yourself a
in
bill.
September. I also had 2 shots of the Pfizer vaccine.
Oh.
Last one was a year ago, March 11th.
Okay.
I could send you a picture.
He did,
I
as a
don't know
matter
if
of
it's
fact.
cell phone or not.
No, it's fun.
Anyway, kind of wondering, what's going on in there. Muscle atrophy and fat atrophy. I'm not sure. You might know. All right. I'll try and text over the picture, see if it works.
Yeah, you did, and thank you. I could not find anything where there was an association between, and here we get another COVID question, but this really isn't a COVID question, where the COVID vaccine caused fat atrophy. But lots of times I have seen where, and a lot of times it's when you use a needle that isn't long enough to give someone a cortisone shot in their shoulder, and they'll get a atrophy of the fat around where they did it. In other words, so I got somebody, and for whatever reason, I don't know, they've got a sinus infection and it's not going away, and I want to give them a shot of corticosteroid, which decreases inflammation in the body. And their fat pad is an inch deep, but an inch and a half deep, and I only use a 1-inch needle, and all of that cortisone goes into the fat itself. It doesn't go into the muscle where you want it to go.
Right.
Because if you put it in the muscle, it stays there and then disperses out to the body over time. And if you put it in the muscle, sometimes you'll kill the fat cells around there, and they'll shrink, and we call that atrophy, and you'll get a dent in that place. So that's all that is.
Yep.
Same thing we'll see in very sensitive tissues of the skin. If you use a powerful steroid, like on the jungle region, you can get atrophy of the skin there as well. So don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Never put cortisone on the jungle region unless a dermatologist has given you the kind that you can do that with, and they've told you that it's okay.
It's a very specific strength.
That's right. Okay, that's right. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Oh, I like this one too. This is a great weird medicine question. And I got to quit double clicking on those. Open up the right app. I know I'm stupid. Okay.
Hey, Dr. Steve, how are you doing?
Okay, I'm dumb.
I'll wait the obligatory amount of time for your response.
Thank you, sir. I'm an idiot.
Okay. So anyway, weird question. Getting a runny nose and actually nasal drippage while using the restroom, number 2, or also getting ready to achieve a sexual orgasm and climax. It's become a problem, obviously, with a new girlfriend, and not the pooping wise, but for the orgasm wise. So, I'm getting close to climaxing. I'm having to wipe my nose, and it's kind of getting interrupting the flow of everything.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So, it gets kind of messy. I've done some research. I know it's a flight or fight response.
Not necessarily.
I guess is what they're saying. But what can I do to treat it?
Yeah, I'm not sure I agree with that. So he's having histamine release during orgasm. Right. Let's touch on that one first. You can get there are people that start sneezing and snotting when they go outside because there is a sunlight associated histamine release. There are other people that have this when they go out in the cold.
Yep.
Okay? And then other things like allergens and stuff like that, but just environmental things. When you get close to orgasm, you release histamine into the tissues of your giant, meaty, erect penis. And there are some people, they're rare, but there are some people that they'll release it in other places as well, and you're doing it in your nose. Now, for some people, antihistamines can cause problems with erectile dysfunction and ejaculation. But if you try one of the let me put this another way. Many physicians would recommend that if you try an over-the-counter non-drowsy antihistamine, that may help. So letting her know that this is what it is, and let her listen to this so that she knows that you're not a nut. And then, just have some tissues, and then while you're strutting your stuff, you can be blowing your nose.
Right on. Hey, and the other option is maybe a nasal spray instead of an oral. Of an oral, that might help.
That's
possibly.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm giving you one of these.
Give yourself a bill.
There is a nasal spray called azolastine, and it is a nasal antihistamine. It doesn't go everywhere else. That's the right answer, Dr. Scott. Ask your primary care for that. That one is, I believe, prescription only.
Yeah, I think.
Okay, awesome. Excellent. Thank you. And see, Dr. Scott, that's why you're here. So
there
appreciate
you
that.
go.
All right. So I understand you've got a question from one of the people in the chat room, a.k.a. the waiting room.
There you go. Lord.
Oh, that's so hacky, but that makes me happy. So,
all right.
What do you got?
Colin, can testosterone therapy not work consistently? I've tried shots, pellets, Clomid. Sometimes they help, but stop working or make me feel worse. I had the best results with Clomid.
Yes.
Okay.
Lots of people do.
Oh, here we go. Yeah. And he's talking about his.
So I just want to know what he means by when it works. What kind of symptoms does he have?
Right on. So he says, I feel better physically and sexually overall, and sleep better. When they stop working, it all goes away. Yes.
Gotcha.
That makes sense.
Yep. So Clomid is clomiphene, and clomiphene, rather than replacing testosterone, causes the body to make more testosterone. And it's really great for people who want to preserve fertility when they have low testosterone, because if you take testosterone supplementation and you take it over a long period of time, it'll just tell your testicles, well, you don't need to make any. We got plenty here. Right. And they'll go, okay, and they'll just go to sleep, and they won't produce sperm or anything.
Yep.
And because you're driving down the hormones in the pituitary gland that tell them to do all these things. So they'll just stop, and many people become infertile in doing that. Whereas the clomiphene basically tells the testicle through a different pathway than the FSH and LH, which are the pituitary hormones, to make more testosterone. It does a couple of things. It may, we don't know everything. It may be that testicular testosterone comes, and the other things that come with it is quote unquote better than just giving just the molecule testosterone. And also, it's your testicles don't shrink, and the body may see it as being more of a quote-unquote natural process. So I think that in that regard, clomiphene may be superior, and that's why you felt better on it. In the end, if that's what made you feel better, then I think they should concentrate on that.
Yeah.
And what can we do to make it work more consistently? And that's something you got to talk to your prescriber about. And honestly, you could see an endocrinologist. They deal with glandular issues for this, and they may have some answers for you. I'm wondering if there are things that decrease absorption for clomiphene. Let's just look up clomiphene absorption and see if there's something in his diet or something else, some medication that's blocking this. Readily absorbed orally in humans. Well, that's interesting, because they usually give it in a shot form. Let's look at drug interactions and see. Let me see. Absorption, okay. The volume of distribution, route of elimination, we don't care about that. Drug interactions, okay. Aha! So the serum concentration of clomiphene can be increased in the presence of certain drugs, like tyrosine kinase inhibitors. Don't worry about that. Those are mostly cancer drugs. I'm looking for, the serum concentration of clomiphene can be decreased when it is combined with apalutamide. What the hell is that? Is that a diabetes drug? That's one I've never heard of. So there are some drugs. Yeah. Anyway, I can't go through this whole list. It's exhaustive. But there are some drugs that can cause a decreased action of the clomiphene. So look at that. Have them look at all the drugs you're on. If you're taking supplements that they don't know about, give them those. There is an app called Hippocrates, and there are others that they could put all that stuff in and see if something is interacting with the clomiphene itself. Did you look up that drug?
You and I should have both guessed at what this is. It's a prostate cancer drug.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
Yep.
Oh, so it's...
I'd never heard of it, but I should have known, but it works.
Did it say what its trade name is?
Erlida.
I don't know that one. Okay, it's not one that our oncologists use. Okay, but there may be other things like that could be causing that issue. So if the clomiphene worked the best, I would focus on that. Maybe the dose was off. Maybe it was too much, or maybe not quite enough, or maybe the frequency that they were giving it to you wasn't correct. So talk to them about it.
Yeah.
And email me, and I'll send you some info. I'll do some more research.
And the other thing about the shots too, sometimes if you're not having good results with shots, they'll give them to you once a week instead of every other week.
Yeah, or they can change the place they're giving the shots too.
Change it. Yeah.
You know, if you're not. Oh, hell! Look who it is.
Uh-oh. We're in trouble now.
Tacey, you're on Weird Medicine.
Still?
Yes.
But still.
We had technical difficulties.
Oh, I would have come up. My therapist forgot me.
Oh, no. Well, that's not good. That's like...
I know. Okay.
Didn't you have a therapist fall asleep on you once?
Yes.
What is it about you and your therapist?
I don't know, but okay, y'all have fun.
I find you to be interesting and vivacious, but you know,
sure you do.
Apparently.
Okay, all right. Well, I would have come up, but anyway.
Okay, well, you're on the show now.
TV instead.
Okay.
All right, I'll see you.
Okay,
Bye.
bye. All right. I guess that's my cue to get out of here. Thanks, everybody. We can't forget Rob Sprance, Bob Kelly, Greg Hughes, Anthony Cumia, Jim Norton, Travis Teff, that Gould Girl, Lewis Johnson, Paul Ovcharsky, Chowdy 1008, Howdy Gooplunk, Eric Nagel, the Port Charlotte Whore, the Saratoga Skank, the Florida Floozy, the St. Pete Barkeep Blower, Percy Dumb, Pocky U, Roland Campos, sister of Chris, Sam Roberts, she who owns Pigs and Snakes, Amanda Swan, Pat Duffy, Dennis Falcone, John Field, Matt Kleinschmidt, Dale Dudley, Holly from the Gulf, Sean Pedrick, oh, he's in there today, Christopher Walken's Double, Steve Tucci, the great Rob Bartlett, Vic's Nether Fluids, Cardiff Electric, Casey's Wet T-Shirt, Curl's Deviated Septum, producer Chris, Jenny Jingles, the inimitable Vincent Paulino, everybody. Eric Zane, Bernie and Sid, Martha from Arkansas's Daughter, Ron Bennington, and of course our dear departed friends, GVAC and Fez Watley, who supported the show, never went unappreciated. Thanks to our SiriusXM show on Faction Talk channel, SiriusXM channel 103, Saturdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern, on demand, and other times at Jim McClure's pleasure. You know why I say thanks to that? Because then we're not just two schlubs with a podcast.
Yep.
You know? It makes a difference in my brain somehow. Many thanks to our listeners whose voicemail and topic ideas make this job very easy. Go to our website at drsteve.com for podcasts, schedules, and other crap. Until next time, check your stupid nuts for lumps, quit smoking, get off your asses, and get some exercise. We'll see you in 1 week for the next edition of Weird Medicine.